Okay. Seems like maybe it's going to work. Oh my gosh. Okay. Do you know what? Sometimes you have to stumble, you know? You have to fall a couple of times before. Okay, let's see if this is now live. Oh my gosh, what a nightmare! Do, 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 do. Hello, hello. I think we are live. Let's see, let's see, let's see. Hello, hello, hello. Sorry, guys. I tried it again and it didn't work the first time because the chat didn't pop up. So I had to go rewatch a YouTube video to figure out exactly how to do it again. I'm learning, sometimes you have to stumble before you walk. So, how are you? Hello, Angie. Hi, Sumankar. How are you? Yeah, I'm glad too. It's different configurations. So when I go from like my regular platform to then streaming, I'm just trying to figure it out. It's third time's the charm. Third time's the charm. How is everyone doing today? What I haven't done today is I actually haven't even checked the court docket. And I feel like maybe that would be a good place to start. And then we can go into, even if we get there, but talk about the motion in opposition by the Wayfarer. And this is about Stephanie motherfucking Jones and Abel. Let's see, though, what happened last night. If anything, I haven't looked. But we'll see. Hi, Christina. Hi, girly. How are you? Yee. It's Saturday, so, a little pre-workout, a little afternoon live, getting the weekend energy here. So I'm just checking right now on the court docket. I'm not sure if anybody checked from last night. There's usually Friday night dumps, but I feel like Thursday was massive with everything that the Wayfair people filed. So we'll see. Oh, did all of this stuff come unsealed? Oh, no. We wouldn't be so lucky, huh? How is everyone's weekend going? Doing yard work. Oh my gosh. Even though I'm in a tank top and it might seem like maybe I could go outside and do yard work today, it's freezing out there. I just choose to keep it summery indoors. I use my imagination, but outside is so cold here today. I just went out. Oh my gosh. And it's just the beginning, so we'll see what happens. It's like winter is not my friend. Let's see if anything was happening yesterday. So we do have something from Brian Friedman. Our zaddy was filed last night. It's a request for clarification, so I'm just going to download that. We can go over that. It doesn't look like it's very long. Okay, so that's Brian Friedman. Oh, let's see what else was filed yesterday. What else? We do have, what is this? Declaration in opposition to motion. Okay. So this looks like Miss Lively's request for admission. Oh, they already got back on the RFAs. That's going to be good because this girl is out of control with what she's asking for. She basically just wants to be able to prove all of her non-evidence as evidence, even though there's no actual evidence. It's very strange. And then you have, I think this is another request from Lively for a time extension to reply. So we'll go over all of that. And then if we do get to the Jones and Freedom, the Jones and Abel, then great. Okay. What do we got going on? Lazy Saturdays, yeah, for sure. I'm trying to muster up some energy after this to maybe go to the gym. But, I already went 5 days this week, so maybe I'll just skip today and go tomorrow. Is that question for me, girly? When can we watch the trailer for your movie? Or I'm not sure if that's for me or not. Oh, you love the cold? Oh, yeah, hot flashes. Yeah, hot flashes are a thing. Actually, last night I had to open the window and let some cold air in because I was like, what's going on? Yes, there's the movie Invited. It's on Tubi. I have a couple of short films on YouTube, but Desire, the big one, it's just wrapping up film festivals, and then we're trying to figure out how to put that out because it is kind of like a horror thriller, and it's 15 minutes, so I'm not sure where I can put that out without, getting violations and stuff, but it will be coming out. And I'm actually working on a web series right now that I think is going to be pretty fun. I can't wait to do that. Yeah, Desire was my directorial debut, so by the end of December, it would have done this year's festival runs, and then we look at releasing it. Okay, let's get into some things here. Let's get into Brian Friedman first. So I guess he's looking for clarification on something. Let's see what it is. I think if I just go like, bam. Oh my gosh. Gotta love technology sometimes. Just worked so perfect. So this is from our Ziadi, Brian Freeman. This was filed yesterday. I thought last night was going to be a huge Friday night dump in the courts, but I guess Waste-Bear, they've been dumping all week. So it was like, oh, why wait till Friday? They pretty much did it all on Thursday night with their motions in opposition. This is from Brian Freeman. He just writes, we write seeking clarification on the court's order regarding plaintiff Blake Lively's motion to compel production of documents identified on the Wayfair party's supplemental privilege log of signal messages post-dating the beginning of litigation. The Wayfair parties request 2 points of clarification. First, the court directed the Wayfair parties to file a more complete log consistent with the order. Elsewhere in the order, the court directed the Wayfair parties to provide an updated privilege log. The Wayfair parties understand that the court has directed them to serve an updated privilege log and respectfully request that the court clarify this point. Second, the order directs the Wayfair parties to supplement their privilege log to indicate the senders of the signal messages logged. Many of the logged messages threads span multiple days or weeks, consistent with the joint ESI stipulation and order when collecting and compiling the signal messages for privilege review. The Wayfair parties divided these threads into 24-hour segments rather than the individual messages. Oh my gosh, the work they have to do for these dang signal messages. I mean, it's just so bizarre because, pre-technology, like pre-messaging, these could have been phone calls. How would a Blake prove that? Oh, they were talking on the phone. Like, she has all of their phone records. Is she then going to prove or try to prove that the phone call they made was about the smear campaign and therefore they, it's just, get over the signal messages. It doesn't mean nothing. If you can't prove it already, then you can't prove it, So they have to do more work on these dang signal messages. It's so crazy. Each 24-hour messaging segment may incorporate numerous messages sent by multiple parties, making it impossible to separately indicate the sender of each individual message. Viewing the order and the ESI stipulation and order together, the Wayfair parties understand that the order to direct them to indicate each of the parties who sent messages, as well as those who merely received them, for each 24-hour segment. The Wayfair parties respectfully request the court clarify this point so they can fully comply with the order. Brian Friedman. I wonder if, Blake Lively had to go through all of this when she had to give up all of her stuff, we'll never know. It seems like nothing's ever good enough because they really don't have anything, and they're trying so hard to find even one message that proves that they executed this untraceable smear campaign. And they said it right yesterday, the Wayfair people, when they said, look, Blake Lively's lawyers all year, it's even in her CRD complaint, it's in her amended complaint, it's in her second amended complaint that she wrote, we have substantial evidence to prove the smear campaign. So anything you get on top of that evidence that you claim that you already got illegally through Van Zandt should have been enough. Oop. Whoa. Hello, Khaleesi. How are you? Yeah, it's grasping at this point because even without these, I think it's only 38 messages that they're fighting for. After all of fact discovery, all depositions, all expert discovery, you're looking for 38 signal messages, and those messages are going to prove it. It don't make no sense to me. I wonder if at this point, I mean, it doesn't seem like they have anything at all. But, you know, that's just me. We haven't been able to see a lot of things because everything's under seal, or, you know, anything coming from the Lively side is all under seal. Yes, I'm so happy y'all are just here Saturday afternoon. Yeah, the missing messages, not Nancy, seem to be what she thinks is going to be her key evidence. And in order to even just like prove that there was a retaliation for protected speech, you actually have to prove that there was protected speech in the first place and that sexual harassment took place. Maybe try there. Like, maybe try proving like actual, I don't know, what I think should be the core of your arguments, and that's mistreatment, violation, and repeatedly being harassed. I mean, isn't that, I don't know, as a woman, that would be the most important thing to me. I would burn the entire world down if I was being repeatedly SH'd, and I would fight for my rights, and I wouldn't care what nobody thought of me for doing so. But we all know this was all for PR and revenge and a bad reputation. What's the Blake cold? Is my voice kind of groggy today? I feel raspy, but it's been like 3 or 4 days. So I'm thinking if I just keep fighting it, it's going to go away. I'm not going to succumb to the sickness. Maybe I will. Who knows? Hi, girly. How are you? Christina at SS. How are you? Van Zandt was to figure out who was smearing them so they could sue, which was in October of 2024. So why did they think Wayfair should keep messages they knew would be sued in 2023? Yeah, there's no way they thought that they were going to be here where we got to. I don't even think Blake Lively thought it was going to go this far. I think at this point, she just really doesn't prove that. She doesn't want to admit that she was wrong or that, you know, overreacted. And I don't know. Her lawyers really took her for a spin. And all of her family, friends, her close ones, whoever told her that this was a good idea. But I truly think that her lawyers, I don't think, had the entire story and all of the information when they started this litigation, because it's looking really bad. Real bad. Norway. Oh my gosh. Hello. That's awesome. So good. Oh, and do you want to know something else which is really cool that happened today? Of course, it's not in my phone. I screenshotted it in my phone, but I was looking at some analytics today, and or at least in the in-frame channel, it's like 82% girlies. Hey. I love that. I saw that and I was like, yes, I'm here for the girlies. You know what I'm saying? Let's do it. So, I mean, if all of us are just all against women, you know how they say if you don't support Blake Lively, you're against women. It's like, I think we're doing this because we do want to fight for real victims and real survivors and innocent people who I'll never forgive Blake Lively, honestly, for making me ride so hard for a man over a woman. But when the truth is just the truth and innocent people are innocent people. With Stephanie watching Jen's phone through the iCloud till January, I wonder if they could see the signal messages in real time but can't say anything because they watched them illegally. Ooh, Jesse and Max, that is a really interesting thing. I'm not sure unless they have like people willing to testify that Jones was doing that or actual evidence. That's going to be really hard to prove. So I wonder if they're able to even prove that Jones was watching in real time. I mean, I guess what they can prove now is that Blake Lively was colluding with Stephanie motherfucking Jones all through August and September. So they have phone records of that, and they've both admitted it, I guess, in their depositions. So just knowing that they were working together for a whole month before Van Zandt, okay, like that is already so you already lost. You know what I mean? It's not like Blake Lively conducted or concocted this entire Van Zandt scheme and knew to get Jennifer Abel's text messages and all of this stuff without Stephanie Jones breaching her contract that she had with Jen Abel, as well, like she had an employee contract as well as with Wayfair, her clients, and her clients were still Wayfair was still Stephanie motherfucking Jones's clients all the way until the end of August. And Blake Lively was talking with Stephanie Jones while Wayfair was still their clients. That is real bad. That's real bad for them. Like for Stephanie Jones, because hello, you broke your own contract with your clients. Who the heck is going to trust you now? And all of that stuff coming out about how she was talking about The Rock and Ryan Reynolds and like, girl, blah, blah, blah. Loose lips sink ships, you know? That's not a way to do business. Okay. What does that say? Oh. Cannot use accessory. Shut the frig. You can't tell me what I can use and can't use. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, the whole Van Zandt thing and Stephanie motherfucking Jones is like, you could try to work out this case and like I've done timelines, I have so many notes, everything, and you know what always happens? All roads lead to Stephanie motherfucking Jones. All roads lead to Van Zandt. All roads lead to that, because if she hadn't freaking worked with Leslie Sloan and Blake Lively, none of this would have happened. None of it. She made a rash decision to go after Jennifer Abel, to seek revenge, and that's why we're here. And I don't think they actually thought ahead, you know. Definitely a breach of contract. How can the judge support not actually having any evidence? I think because Blake Lively's the plaintiff, so she's the victim in this, you know, she's the one that came with the claim. He's allowing her every avenue to get whatever, prove whatever, you know, even when it came to her depositions. The whole week before her freaking deposition. Do you remember they were going back and forth about location and privacy and this and this and this? And then the night before she canceled it, it was just like, I think he's offering her every avenue possible so that, you know, she's the victim so that she can get justice. And eventually when he rules on summary judgment and motion on the pleadings, I have a very strong feeling, not all, because I don't think that will happen, but a few of her big, huge claims are going to be dismissed, and it won't be worth going to the rest of the trial for all of her little ones. I mean, she already pulled two of her biggest emotional claims. So, you know, what are we doing here? We're here for garden variety stress, or whatever she said. Garden stress. So ridiculous. At SS says, I'm really disappointed in Wayfair for not doing more for Natasha Heath. At least required in-camera review and make Blake Lively be the one to watch, because I'll bet she's planning on making her lawyers. Yeah, I feel like F-U-C-K, I hate what's happening to Natasha Heath. Oh, actually, it's Jamie Heath's birthday. Yesterday or today, it's his birthday, and Natasha Heath put a really nice post on her Instagram. It's very beautiful. I screenshotted it, but again, I don't think my Mac is connecting to my phone. And it's very, very nice. So, she's holding strong and Jamie Heath is holding strong. And what is more disappointing to me is that most of Blake Lively's lawyers are men, and for Blake Lively to act the way that she did and be so disturbed by not having a close set, by accusing Steve Swords of being there, the OBGYN not being covered, even though she was fully freaking covered, which is a whole other topic. And she can say all of these things, right? But now you're going to allow another woman's actual labor, actual birth to be shown to a room of lawyers and probably Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively. Ugh. Nope. Gross. I don't like it. I think it's nasty. Oh, hi, Trish. So nice to see you. New to the channel. Woo, welcome. We're so happy to have you here. Don't they have to be held in contempt first? I don't know about all that. I don't know about all of it. I could just speak on my feelings and what I know. Let's move to the second thing filed yesterday. I know a lot of you are here I called it the Jones versus Abel, but I didn't realize there were some small filings last night, so we'll just get to that first. If Blake did an in-camera review with Wayfair, what would stop Blake from recording the screen and capturing the video for herself? Blech. I don't know why she would want that. And also, to do an in-camera review, you have to be with the judge, right? Like, I think that's what it is. It's like you're in the judge's chambers. They probably have hours. I mean, women go into labor for indefinite amount of time. So who knows how much footage they have. If they got an editor to edit all different videos, maybe they have videos for themselves. Maybe they edited videos for their family and friends. Maybe they edited videos just for the baby when it grows up. So there's probably, oh my gosh, it's really gross. And even if he did show her the birth, she's still in water. You're a woman. And we can all agree that it was a freaking home birth. So even if it was, and this is what I've been saying, like, even if it was the most intrusive part, or what can be like the most, I don't even want to say grotesque, because this is so bad. It's so beautiful what happens. But even if it is like the part where, she's maybe screaming, or maybe she doesn't scream because I don't know, she handles it well, but where the baby's like actually coming out, it's still a baby in a home birth. It's not porn. And she knows that, and she's known it since the moment it happened. So the fact that we're even here and she's violating yet again another freaking woman because the 100 content creators wasn't enough. It's like, no. Yeah, Melissa's here. Awesome. Nice to see everyone. Okay, what is this one? What are we doing? This is a declaration of Aline Garofalo in support of Wayfair's party's opposition to plaintiffs' letter motion for seeking the court's confirmation that Miss Lively's request for admissions be admitted. Oh, Blakey. First, she wanted to preclude Jamie Heath from being able to testify about the birthing video. Didn't happen. Then she wanted the judge, and that's what they're fighting now on this spoliation. She wants the judge to preclude all 8 Wayfair defendants from talking about the signal messages or denying any of the smear campaign. Because the messages delete, Blake Lively and her lawyers want to be able to tell the jury whatever they want, made up, imagined, were in the text messages that proved the smear campaign, and the Wayfair people can't deny it. That's crazy. And then also the request for admissions, she's saying because Wayfair can't authenticate some of the requests, she also wants that admitted as true. But they can't authenticate some of the requests because it's things that Blake Lively created and her people created, so they can't authenticate something that isn't theirs. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, I'm just, you just want Wayfair to be able to just to sit there, say nothing, and allow Blake Lively to just say and do whatever she wants to do, because that's it. And she can just make everything up like she has in her CRD complaint, and they can't say anything. That's basically what she's been requesting over and over and over every single time. It is so crazy. Okay, so this is Aline. So this is just a declaration. So we might not get a lot of information here, but on November 7th, 2025, I met and conferred with plaintiff Blake Lively's counsel about concerns over the proprietary of RFA's request for admissions directed to my clients Wayfair Studios, Justin, Jamie, Steve, it ends with us, Melissa, Nathan, the agency group, Jennifer, Abel, as a group rather than individual parties. I explained that defendants would object to the RFAs in their response due on November 10th. However, I propose that the parties work together to authenticate as many trial exhibits as possible to streamline trial, including the massive number of documents identified in the RFAs. That's interesting, because I don't think Blake Lively put that in her letter to the judge. She just said that I think they didn't get any response. There's always a little loophole here with what they file, you know? It's like straight away, I was working with them, you know? Kind of crazy. And it's funny because Blake Lively sent them over 550 RFAs, but then when they submitted 200 exhibits, she went and asked for a 3-week extension. It's not, nothing ever adds up, you know? The math is never mathing when it comes to what Blake Lively is thinking up here. I further explained that we anticipated being able to authenticate certain categories of documents, including without limitation: 1, communications on which a defendant is a sender, recipient, or copied; 2, signed agreements and draft of agreements provided to a defendant; and 3, any document created or provided to a defendant. Defendants noted that the RFAs included news articles and similar media releases that defendants probably cannot authenticate. Right. They can't authenticate things that other journalists and stuff write if they didn't, you know, talk to those journalists. If they're just tabloids and mainstream media, they can't authenticate like, yes, that's true, or like, yes, that's not true, right? Like, it's just so crazy. I request a 3-day extension of the November 10th response date on the RFAs to November 13th to allow time to review and authenticate the documents listed in the RFAs. I told Ms. Lively's counsel that I hoped we could complete our review by November 13th and suggested that if we could meet this deadline, Ms. Lively might withdraw her RFAs, avoiding unnecessary litigation over the form of RFAs which the Wayfair parties deemed defective. I also told Ms. Lively's counsel that we expected to authenticate further documents that might be identified as exhibits prior to trial, and hoped the parties could work toward an agreement on the admissibility of as many exhibits as possible to streamline trial. Based on this discussion, Ms. Lively's counsel agreed to a 3-day extension of the response date, November 13th. On November 7th, Ms. Lively sent an email distorting the parties' positions at the meet and confer. Well, if there's anything I believe, it's that line right there, because we have seen it with our own eyes in the court, the way she redacts things to make it sound like one thing, and then when it becomes unsealed, it's actually not what she said. I mean, even the way she files letters to the judge, please see please see emails, and then you read the emails and it's literally not at all what she put in the letter motion. So I believe that. I believe that Ms. Lively sent an email distorting the party's position at the meet and confer. Nevertheless, we immediately commenced a review of the documents identified in the RFAs. The task was complicated by the fact that the RFAs identified documents by Bates number only, requiring a search of the large database of discovery to isolate the documents. Brutal. Given these facts, we were unable to complete the task by November 13th. Accordingly, we timely served defendants' objections to the RFAs on November 13th, the due date agreed to at the meet and confer. Nothing in the objections or our subsequent communications with Ms. Lively's counsel indicate that the defendants intend to do anything but what we represented on November 7th. Review the documents identified in the RFAs to authenticate as many potential trial exhibits as possible. Sounds fair. But nevertheless, Ms. Lively's counsel contends that the extension for defendants' responses were conditioned on a stipulation to complete the authentication process by November 13th. Defendants' responses were therefore untimely, and plaintiff deems all 557 RFAs admitted and the reference documents authenticated. That's so crazy. I wonder who told them to get the subpoena. Maybe the New York Times. Yeah, when it comes to Van Zandt, I mean, I can't wait to see all that metadata and see exactly who started the freaking Van Zandt fake lawsuit, because I know Blake Lively did not come up with that idea on her own. Like, there's no way. There's no way. Oh my God, Jesse and Max, that is so funny. The only way I get through reading these things is to mentally replace Miss Lively with a fart sound. Yes, Blake Lively is a masterclass in manipulation, manipulation. I fully agree. So she just wants all 557 RFAs. She's now asking the judge to admit as authenticated so that when they get to trial, they can't argue like it's evidence or not evidence. She just wants everything. Like, why don't the 8 Wayfair defendants just go there, put duct tape over their mouth, and let Blake Lively just say and do whatever she wants, and they just have to take it? That's basically what she's asking. It's so nuts. Yeah, the lawyers are definitely working for their next pay. I mean, oh my gosh. I think I saw little girl attorney say that she believes that Blake Lively's legal fees now are over $50 million. Like, if she had to like guess. And what really pisses me off, yeah, I'm going to be real frank here, is that because Blake Lively has so much money, like with Ryan Reynolds, and like, I mean, they're millionaires, right? She's able to pursue this fake ass sham lawsuit. I mean, there's no evidence. There was no proof to begin with. If this was just a regular person, they would never have the resources to pull something like this. Even if it was a brutal, like, you know, what women actually go through in real life, like who are out there living lives like on the streets, you know, they would never be able to, even if it was like, I don't want to say worse, but you know what I mean? It's like, oh my God, she's spending so much money just because she wants to say that she was right, and there's no evidence. There's no proof of what she even said. There's not even proof of her allegations that they were true as she said them on set. You know, like, show me something. Anyway, so Aline responded to Blake Lively on November 14th, the day after the deadline, because that was November 13th, reiterating defendants' commitment to streamline trial and avoid unnecessary litigation by authenticating as many exhibits as possible in advance of trial and working with plaintiff toward a stipulation. A true and correct copy of the email is attached. The parties' respective summary judgment motions were due on November 12th. Miss Lively did not move for summary judgment, even though she said she was going to. The 3,000 bracelets. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Oh, nice. Maybe I'm going to write that down. HG Tutor. Haven't heard of that yet. but I'm always looking for new people to watch. And then it seems like the last one filed is from Manette, Phelps, and Phillips. Oh, what do they want? Who wrote this freaking shit? Ezra. What a girl's girl. Ezra Hudson. In accordance with Rule 1D and 2K of Your Honor's individual practices in civil cases, Plaintiff Blake Lively respectfully writes, with the consent of defendants Wayfarer Studios and Jones Works, to inform the court that all parties have agreed to modify the current briefing schedule related to Miss Lively and Jones Works' respective motions for spoliation sanctions due to the Wayfarer defendants' untimely filing and service. What? Under the current briefing schedule, the deadline for Miss Lively and Jones Works to file any reply briefs in further support of their respective motion is December 5th. Under the parties' agreement, the deadline to file any such reply briefs shall be December 8th. The parties' next scheduled appearance before the court is December 9th. So they want another extension to reply? Yeah, take the 3 days, Blake. Do whatever you gotta do. At this point, you know, you have the best lawyers in the world. You have an army of lawyers behind you, and you need now an extension on this too. Okay, you know, like, whatever. The judge is going to give it to you. It seems like everyone agreed, so take the 3 days. You still won't be able to come up with nothing. Just kidding. Maybe she will. Who knows? I don't know. I don't think so, because if there was any evidence, it would have been leaked already. Something she would have demanded it gets out, because we all know how she feels about her reputation, and every day she's making it worse. So I feel like if there was something there, she would have leaked it. She would have leaked a text with Taylor Swift. She would have leaked a text with, you know, Sean Levy or Ryan Reynolds or Hugh Jackman or Bradley Cooper. You know, something would have been there. Even with Isabella or Jenny the Man-Beater Slate, I mean, we would have seen something. And there's nothing so far in any of her complaints. Thank goodness for Steve Sarrett. Yes, ma'am. That's something I could definitely agree on, because Wayfarer wouldn't be able to fight this if, you know, if it wasn't there. Okay, that's Blake Lively's. I'm just trying to see here if I can get Jones versus Abel. Okay. What's going on? What's going on? Yeah, Blake Lively doesn't. I mean, she doesn't have anything. Honestly, there's days and there's moments where I feel real bad, because it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing that she's still going. It's embarrassing that she started this whole thing. I feel really bad for her kids. I feel like there are parts of me that I'm like, damn, she's being torn apart. Like, this is so bad. And when she first came out with the New York Times story, so many people, I mean, not so many, a handful, actually only like a handful of people, which wasn't even a lot. It was like, what, the Traveling Pants Girls, what's her stupid name, Colleen Hoover, and then Brandon Sklenar, I think, are the only people that, you know, stood by her. Oh, yeah, and Amber Heard. Don't forget her. You know, stood by her. Nobody else said anything. And then when Wayfarer came and dropped the receipts on receipts on receipts, quiet, crickets. Because if you work in the film industry, you know the way that the things that she did, unbelievable. Nobody is going to want to work with a diva like that. The already entitlement and celebrity kind of entitlement has been fading for a long time. And this, like, when you read what she did during production and post-production and how she took over that edit, I'm sure every filmmaker, every actor, every who knows the details of this story, every director, every editor, every composer, I mean, everybody across the board is like, oh, yeah, Wayfair, they're, they stood their ground finally, because it's unheard of what she did in this post-production and took over the movie. She hijacked the movie from these people. It's unheard of. Nobody will want to work with people like this, thinking that, oh, I'm just going to hire this actor and then maybe her and her husband are going to take the movie from me. Crazy, Yeah, I totally agree, Christina. I mean, I know a lot of people were waiting for them to appeal, waiting for them to oppose the motions, asking for like motions to dismiss. And I feel like they just sat there, gathered everything they needed to do, and was working on the motion, on the pleadings, and the motion for summary judgment, because they were like, okay, bam, here we go. You wanted to do this? Let's air it all out. Let's show everything. And it's not looking good for Blake Lively. Not looking good. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Sikayla. I hope to work with Wayfair or people like Wayfair. And I've actually been pretty lucky that most people in sets I work on are really friendly and nice. And that's another thing too about the hugging thing. Everyone hugs on set, unless you're doing like a commercial and you're only there maybe for one day. But even then, you get to know people so good. And when you're working with people every single day, I mean, it's really like long hours. You have to, especially when you're doing like really raw, emotional, intimate scenes. I mean, everyone's just there to support people, and you hug all the time. Like, it's not, you could ask anyone that works on set. I mean, you don't have to hug. You don't got to be a hugger to, do it. You obviously don't have to, but you get to build a family. And Ryan Reynolds himself, there's videos of him hugging his cast and crew on set. There's videos of Blake Lively getting out of her car and running to Justin Baldoni and giving him a big hug with coffee in her hand. I mean, it didn't seem like she wasn't a willing participant in the hugging. Oh, the hugging. Oh gosh, it's just, and especially like, maybe it's because I work in film, and maybe it's because I've always worked in hotels and food and beverage as a bartender, server, whatever. That industry too is very, friendly, I'd say, and you get to know your colleagues a lot. So I don't know what this whole hugging thing is about, because it's just kind of nuts. If someone comes in for a hug and you don't want to hug, you don't hug. Like, I don't think it's sexual harassment, unless they're always just coming up to hug you and you've told them, don't hug me. Oh my gosh, that just makes me laugh. It really makes me laugh. Like, the Blake Livelies. Oh, thanks. Yeah. I mean, I hope to work on more and more sets. I think maybe this being pro Wayfair and anti Blake and Ryan maybe could be a setback, but honestly I don't really care, because if you're on their side, I don't want to be on your side anyway. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, no thank you. Unless they go do some deep work, change, apologize, and then come back and actually are good people, because I could never imagine even being in like Jenny and Isabella's shoes and having Blake Lively like love bomb you and use you and then just like discard you when she's done. Ugh. No, thank you. Yeah, there's so many good people in here today. Aunt Lala, hello. How's everyone? Oh my god. At Girly1209 says, imagine embarrassing yourself so hard you made people forget Amber pooped on the bed. That's crazy work. Oh my gosh, it's so funny. At Dre Heath, yeah, let's do something. You can work with me anytime. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. So that brings us to this one. This is probably going to be the next hour because it's 30 pages. And this is just Jen Abel against Stephanie motherfucking Jones. Because you remember when Blake Lively filed her sanctions for spoliation and blah, 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 blah. Well, once you know it, Stephanie Jones did the exact same thing. Oh, it's almost like they're still working together. Yes, get me on set with Justin in his next movie, or Jamie, or just a Wayfair film. You know, maybe we should remake It Ends With Us, or when this is all said and done, we'll do It Starts With Us, and then I'll be in it. No, I'm just kidding. That would be, I mean, I'm not kidding. Dreams come true, but you know, it would be wild. Imagine them hiring an anti-Lively commentator after she went hysterical over content creators. It would kind of be like the biggest jab, I feel like, you know. I'm just here to hear Mandy chuckle. That's funny. Actually, for the longest time, people made fun of my laugh so much. They said I sound like Marge Simpson. It was like a cackle. I sound like the Wicked Witch from the West. But now, you know what? I don't care. I don't care. Names keep changing. Hello, good morning, good evening, good night to you all. Yes. Okay, so this is the second one that was filed. And this is third-party plaintiff Jennifer Abel's opposition to third-party defendant Jones Works for spoliation. Is Van Zandt going to be in here? Do you think? Are we going to get more information about Van Zandt? That's what I want to know. I want to know what they got. Yeah, they just jealous. Yeah, super jealous of my laugh. Just kidding. Okay. Sometimes I just make myself laugh so hard. Okay, so we have a table of contents. Let's just get right to the meat and potatoes of it. I love a good introduction, so it's usually good. I think this is all from Aline, so she usually does a really good job of getting those little jabs whenever she can. Stephanie motherfucking Jones and Jones Works, collectively Jones, sanctions motion is odd indeed. It's very odd. It's real odd. What are they asking for? What a great first sentence. Is odd. Is real odd. Lacking any serious attempt to justify sanctions for spoliation of electronically stored information, the ESI, under Federal Rules of Civil Procedure 37E. Jones falls short of meeting even the threshold requirement for application of 37E, namely that at the time signal messages were allegedly deleted, and since November of 2023, Jennifer Abel anticipated litigation concerning her August 2024 public relations activity on behalf of her clients, Wayfair Studios and Justin Baldoni. The subject matter of the allegedly deleted signal messages and chats, and thus had a duty to preserve the communications assuming they ever existed. Jones merely cites evidence that Abel anticipated litigation against Justin Baldoni, Jamie Heath, Steve Soretz, Wayfair, It Ends With Us, collectively the Wayfair defendants, relating to Blake Lively's allegations that she was uncomfortable on the set of the film It Ends With Us, which occurred over a year earlier between May and June of 2023. Simply put, evidence Jones contends was spoliated would have been relevant to the August 2024 PR strategy, not the alleged harassment claims that were the subject of the only foreseeable litigation. Jones makes no effort to explain if or why Abel would contemplate litigation in November of 2023 over a public relations campaign that allegedly launched in August of 2024. Eat 'em up. Eat 'em up, babes, okay? Because you know Stephanie Jones only filed that the same day Blake Lively filed hers. Why? Just to support her bestie, Blake? Ugh, get out of here. I can't stand this woman, Stephanie motherfucking Jones. And it's only because when this all started coming out, I myself was, I had my own Stephanie motherfucking Jones that I was fighting, and I came out on top. You feel me? You feel me? I had to fight, and now I'm like, I'm gonna fight for Jennifer Abel and Wayfair too, because this ain't right. What Stephanie motherfucking Jones did to Jennifer Abel is unforgivable. Unforgivable. It has literally ruined the lives of 8 people, their family, their daughters, their children, their wives, because of revenge. It's insane. Jones's motion similarly fails to pinpoint a particular message or chain relevant to Abel's indemnification claim, which Abel deleted, or even whether Abel was a participant in any pre-litigation signal thread concerning Lively. Cognizant of the shortcomings in her motion, Jones merely urges the court to presume that Abel participated in signal chats about Lively. The unspecified, indeed mythical... The unspecified, indeed mythical signal messages were relevant to Abel's indemnification claim, and their deletion prejudiced Jones. However, Jones fails to show that Abel, who could not possibly foresee litigation involving her PR work, acted in bad faith, the requisite showing for a presumption of relevance and prejudice. Nevertheless, based on this very shaky house of cards, go off, girl. That's what I keep saying. The house of cards is crumbling. The house of cards is crumbling, and I am here for it. Nevertheless, based on this very shaky house of cards, which requires the court to stack presumption on top of presumption, Jones seeks the most severe sanctions available under Rule 37E2, including, at a minimum, a sweeping adverse inference that allegedly destroyed signal messages would have been favorable to Jones. The broadly defined defendants conducted a digital or smear campaign against Lively without Jones's knowledge, involvement, or approval. Abel participated in that campaign for her own personal benefit outside the course and scope of her employment with Jones, and Abel acted with the intent to deprive Jones of relevant information. Jones also seeks to preclude Abel. Oh gosh, it's like 2 birds of a feather. 2 feather of a bird. I'm moving on. Jones also seeks to preclude Abel from refuting these allegations at trial. The exceedingly broad adverse inference and preclusion order sought by Jones would be the death knell for Abel's indemnification claim. As elaborated below, Jones falls woefully short of meeting the harsh standard for Section Rule 37E2 or even the lesser sanctions available under 37E1, and thus her motion should be denied. Oh, the love you back sign, yeah, is there. I also have Marilyn Monroe every day. She's all over my room. Marilyn Monroe. And pink, obviously. I'm a girly girl, okay? Oh my gosh, you think Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are paying Stephanie Jones's bills? That would be crazy. It makes sense, though, why she keeps fighting and fighting and fighting, and why she's able to, and she hasn't just like tried to do a deal. I also heard that Stephanie Jones is trying to get into like arbitration and mediation with Wayfair, so it might not, their part anyway, might not go to court if they mediate it together and come up with some sort of deal. But I don't see what kind of deal. If I was Wayfair, I would take these people, I would drag them all the way down to the 7 layers below the ground. I would show everything. No mercy for Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, or Stephanie motherfucking Jones. Birds of a feather flock together. There you go. Yeah, 2 birds of the same feather. Thanks, guys. Sometimes I glitch, sometimes I can't get it straight up there. Wow, I wonder where he got that information. He kept it in. Yeah, the love you back because it's like in a camera and the camera is mirrored. It's like backwards, but I can, if you guys want, I could literally, if it's a thing, I could fix it. There you go. But then I don't look the same as on my camera, but I don't care about that. It's just you get the other side of me. Cameras and mirrors and mirrored cameras are always so strange. I felt like I heard not actually Golden talking about mediation or arbitration, what that means. And I watched some video on TikTok, but I didn't see anything in the courts. So, at that point, it's just who knows. But people were asking questions about what does it mean if they go to arbitration and stuff like that. Hello, Aunt Clara. How are you? Oh my God, it's so weird to see myself from this angle. My eyebrow is like all the way up here. What's going on with that? Anyway, okay, we're going to move on. We're going to move on here. So factual background. I feel like some of this stuff is going to be the same as what was in Wayfarers because it's dealing with the same rules, but we'll just go for it. Saritz is not going to let this go. He is head-to-head with Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively. He's not letting their stupidity win. I actually totally agree. There's nothing for them to settle on. I feel like they have them hands down wherever they want. And, they're going to fight to preserve their name and their innocence because accusations like this stick with people for the rest of their lives. Like every time now, and for the next however amount of years, when you hear Justin Baldoni, it's going to be attached to harassing Blake Lively, even if he's found innocent. When you hear, like these kind of accusations, they stain people and their life and their reputation, their families forever, for years, like even Johnny Depp, like you'll never be able to think of Johnny Depp without thinking about what happened with Amber Heard and vice versa. So it's I don't think they're just going to settle, let it go until actually they are completely proved innocent of wrongdoing. Oh, thanks, Christina. I appreciate that. Nice to see you, Aunt Claire. I hope you're doing well. We just got into the Jones versus Abel. So we've just read the introduction. Let's go. The factual background. Well, we kind of already know this, but let's just breeze through it. The employment relation between Jones and Abel. Until approximately August of 2024, Jones was Wayfair's PR agent and Abel was the Jones Works employee primarily responsible for the Wayfair account. On August 21st, 2023, Abel was terminated. She then opened her own PR relations business. Is that August of 2024? Not August of 2023? Can someone correct me? I think that's supposed to be August of 2024. Anyway, on August 21st, Abel was terminated. She then opened her own PR relations business. Yeah, they're going to keep calling him a predator no matter what. Prior to Abel's departure, Jones's chief of staff, accompanied by security and legal counsel, cornered Abel, seized her cell phone, and subsequently downloaded her text messages and emails, including her communications with Jones's clients. Jones subsequently delivered Abel's communications to Lively, redacted. And that's coming from, you see right here, Blake Lively's own deposition. So it looks like they got them. Lively's deposition. So she even admitted that Stephanie Jones delivered Abel's communications to her. Dang. Okay. Where's your evidence, Blake Lively? Okay, that's bad. And then there's some redactions. Understanding that sharing the information purloined from Abel's phone carried a risk, Jones and Lively created a ruse to give legal cover to Jones. On September 27th, 2024, an entity known as Van Zandt, redacted, filed a sham breach of contract claim in New York Supreme Court. And that came from Harris's deposition and Van Zandt as well. There's an exhibit for Van Zandt. I wonder if Harris is, the guy who sat in for Van Zandt. Oh my God, Steve, I will never get over Steve Sarritz's deposition. The complaint brought by plaintiffs against Doe defendants did not describe or attach the allegedly breached contract and lacks any factual allegation. Again, from this Harris deposition. Once Jones produced Abel's communications to Lively, Van Zandt dismissed its state court complaint. These facts leave no doubt that the Van Zandt complaint was filed for one reason only: to provide a mechanism for Jones to transfer the information stolen from Abel's phone to Lively. The facts giving rise to interlocking lawsuits in which Abel is a party. The film and Lively's complaints about misconduct on the set. The film began shooting in New Jersey on May 15th. Phase 1 ended June 14th due to the writer's strike. During Phase 1, Lively complained about purported mistreatment by Justin Baldoni and Jamie Heath on the set, including alleged conduct that made her uncomfortable. Lively did not file a formal complaint, but voiced her concerns to Baldoni, Heath, and others, redacted. No later than June 1st, 2023, Abel, who was employed by Jones, was not involved in the production of the film or Lively's complaints or mistreatment. The protections and resolution of Lively's complaints. During the strike-related pause in filming on November 9th, 2023, the Wayfair parties received a letter from Lively's lawyers, Lindsay Strasberg, demanding the Wayfair agree to a 17-point list of protections as a condition for Lively's return to complete the film. And I believe that Lindsay Strasberg is also Bradley Cooper's lawyer. That would make sense about what happened after the meeting of the Dragons. If you all know about that meeting in November, there was Taylor Swift, Sean Levy, Ryan Reynolds, Bradley Cooper, and Blake Lively, and a couple of her Dragons. And very interesting because she thanked Bradley Cooper in the credits of It Ends With Us, as well as had him at this private screening that scored really bad. And I believe Lindsay Strasberg is tied to Mr. Cooper, which is crazy work because I love me Bradley Cooper. Don't be a bad guy. We need more good guys. We need more good people in Hollywood, okay? The letter stated that if the production is unwilling to accept or uphold these protections, our client is prepared to pursue her full legal rights and remedies. Well, on November 10th, 2023, Wayfair forwarded Strasberg's demand letter to Abel in her capacity as Wayfair's public relations consultant. Wayfair agreed to the protections. Wayfair understood that their agreement to the protections resolved the issues that had arisen during Phase 1 and eliminated the threat of potential litigation. Abel is not a party to the protections, and there is no evidence that she was in any way involved in Wayfair's negotiations or decision to sign the protections. Filming resumed on January 5th, 2024, following an extremely tense all-hands meeting on January 4th, in which Lively's husband, Ryan Reynolds, spent hours berating the Wayfair defendants for their conduct in Phase 1. After returning to set, Lively did not assert any further complaints. Filming, which began on January 5th, wrapped on February 9th, and like Phase 1, Abel was not involved in Phase 2, and there is no evidence or even allegation that the Wayfair parties failed to uphold the protections during Phase 2. In fact, on January 14th, Lively blank redacted, and that's, I think, fully believe that's probably a text that she sent someone or an email that she, sent to someone saying that it's good now, whatever. Abel did not attend the January 4th all-hands meeting and did not have any contact with Lively about her complaints of misconduct in Phase 1. Hashtag Ryan is not a billionaire is hilarious. I know, Mama Titia. I know. I feel like Bradley Cooper is heavily implicated, and it breaks my heart. because he was at the meeting and his girl is what, Gigi Hadid or something, I think that's who it is. And Gigi Hadid provided the sweaters for the whole PR thing, which was a horrible video of, I don't know why they thought having Ryan Reynolds acting like a jealous husband would be good in a movie about DV, but you know, if the shoe fits, Ryan. He was clearly jealous of Justin because of Lively's past. I mean, every male co-star that she had, she's dated, including Ryan himself. So, you know, there's that. Lively's assault on the Wayfair parties. Yeah, it was a freaking assault. Let's get into it. Lively did assault the Wayfair parties every chance she got. During phase 2, Lively moved to seize control of the production, among other things, redacted. Ultimately, Lively gained control over the entire post-process. Why is this redacted? We already kind of know what happened, but Lively also demanded that redacted. And this is coming from the Baldoni deposition and the Greenberg deposition. Lively accomplished her takeover through threats that if her demands were not met, she would not participate in marketing of the film, even though she was contractually obligated to do so. Not content with usurping Baldoni's role as director and excluding him from the marketing of the film he developed, financed, directed, and starred in, Lively then sidelined, indeed banished Baldoni from the premiere, refusing to be photographed with him and demanding that he and his guests be hidden from sight and shunning Baldoni and his guests into another screening room. That makes me so mad. Baldoni was also barred from appearing with Lively in publicity photos or promotional appearances. Lively very publicly unfollowed Baldoni like a little teenager on social media. I obviously put in the teenager part. And blank. I wonder what the end is. What else did she do? Oh, I think she told the entire cast, and they have information because it was in one of their filings, that she told the rest of the cast to also unfollow him, which is crazy. Oh my gosh, Lottie, thank you so much. The surging chatter over discourse on the film set and the public relations response to Lively's attacks. By the time the film's August 6th premiere, rumors of discord on the film set were already swirling on social media and in the press. These rumors were fueled by redacted. Lively's unfollowing of Baldoni on social media and Lively's insistence that Baldoni be stripped of the credit filmed by Justin Baldoni on the movie he developed, sold, directed, and starred in. What is just a freaking psycho. The decision was particularly tone-deaf given the role of alcohol abuse in domestic violence cases. Nevertheless, Lively used alcoholic drinks using her Betty Boo's alcohol products such as Rile You Wait and It Ends With Buzz at promotional events. The public backlash was immediate and unforgiving. And then they have the same article that they put. This is almost word for word what they put in the Wayfair one too. Given the circumstances and Lively's affirmatively hostile conduct, the Wayfair parties were understandably concerned about a potential onslaught of negative publicity from Lively. On July 25th, 2024, the Wayfair parties contacted crisis communications specialist Melissa Nathan and her company TAG to diffuse and defend against Lively's anticipated assault and protect the film and Baldoni's professional reputation as a producer and director. The Wayfair defendants also retained Jed Wallace to provide digital monitoring services. On August 2nd, 2024, the crisis management PR team circulated a scenario planning document with a proposed strategy to counter against Lively's negative press and Lively's efforts to disparage Baldoni and Heath as the film's director and producer, respectfully tamp down the growing chatter on the internet's rumor mill and handle the response, should Lively and her team make her grievances public. Lively defines this defensive measure as the launch of a retaliatory smear campaign and contends that in the weeks and months that followed, the Wayfair parties engaged in a sophisticated, coordinated, and well-financed retaliation plan. In fact, the Wayfair defendants did nothing other than exercise the right to defend against Lively's attacks and the tidal wave of negative publicity triggered by Lively's own conduct. Lively implicitly concedes that the goal of the Wayfair party's PR effort was not retaliation for some protected activity, but to defend Baldoni and his reputation. The strategy described in the scenario planning document was never implemented because anti-Lively, pro-Baldoni sentiment went viral organically. Any need to take measures to control the narrative was removed. The negative publicity spiked on the eve of August 6th premiere and August 9th release date. Lively's own timeline indicates that defendants could not have been the masterminds behind the spike in negative publicity. Lively points to spikes in negative internet traffic on August 8th and August 14th. Wallace was recommended to defendants on August 7th. The first spike in negative digital coverage began on August 8th before Wallace, the alleged digital wizard, was retained, and only one day after he was referred by Nathan. Even looking at the August 14th spike, Lively does not offer any explanation about how the tag, Nathan, Abel, and Wallace were able to turn the entire internet against Lively in less than 2 days. These facts undermine Lively's presumption that defendants manipulated the spike in the already burgeoning negative sentiment targeted at Lively. I mean, she can't explain nothing because it was all organic. As soon as she came out on that red carpet and was taking all the credit and told the world that Ryan wrote the rooftop scene, and we all knew that it was a woman writer, Christy Hall, you're in trouble, girl. That was the most unprofessional thing she could have done. The way she handled the entire PR, that's what people were mad about. And her acting in the movie was, people were pissed. Her wardrobe, her hair, it took over every scene. It was like, people were mad about her own unseriousness of the movie. And everyone noticed that Justin Baldoni wasn't there because as a Justin Baldoni fan since Jane the Virgin and his Man in a Podcast and everything, I couldn't wait, you know? And I think everyone was really excited to see this movie and to see Justin Baldoni, and Blake herself just thought that she was a bigger star and had more star power because of her husband, Ryan Reynolds. But it backfired tremendously. I can't wait to read Blake Lively's deposition. Y'all are talking about Blake Lively's deposition. Whew! And her communications, because those are all under seal too. They also have under seal Isabel Ferrer's deposition, Brandon Sklenar's deposition, Jenny Slate's deposition, WME's. I can't wait to see everybody try to explain this. And especially Alex Sachs. I really want to see her deposition too, and Angie Giannotti, because those women were there the entire freaking time. What did they do? What did they do to protect the people making this movie? Nothing. They went with the star power too. So I can't wait. I can't wait to see everyone try to explain how nobody said nothing. Nobody said nothing to Blake. They let her do whatever she wanted. An actor should never, ever be in the editing room with the director unless absolutely invited. That is like, already they knew that they broke the chain of command and gave power away, where, it makes me sick what she did in post-production. Okay, we're moving on because I'm getting heated here. I'm getting heated thinking about it. The use of Signal by some defendants. After the crisis management team was brought on board in August of 2024 and prior to Lively filing her claims on December 20th, certain defendants used Signal chats to communicate. Signal is a commonly used app which provides enhanced security features. The security protection Signal provides made Signal the preferred and primary means of communications between Nathan, the crisis manager, and Wallace, who operate in a highly charged media environment. Other defendants use Signal on limited occasions. Jamie Heath communicated at least twice on Signal during the period. Saritz, Baldoni, and Abel did not use Signal at all during the pre-litigation period to communicate about Lively. However, to the extent Signal was used, the participants had Signal set on its auto-delete feature. Defendants therefore have no Signal communications from the pre-litigation period. However, defendants also used traditional platforms such as text messages to communicate. Abel has produced these communications. As noted, Jones already had possession of all of Abel's texts and emails prior to August 2024, which has been downloaded from Abel's confiscated phone. That's so true. How is Stephanie motherfucking Jones trying to file a motion for sanctions and spoliations based on these 38 Signal messages when she has the phone? She had it. She has everything. That's so true. That's kind of crazy. And with these Signal messages, like I said before, they could have just been talking on the phone. What would Blake and Jones do then if they didn't use any text messages, if they had no emails or text and it was all phone calls? Then what? We wouldn't even be here. So it's like, y'all are just so obsessed with Signal messages that don't even exist. You can't just all of a sudden be like, because there's no Signal messages, I want the jury to believe everything I say about these imagined, fabricated Signal messages, and the 8 defendants have to agree. So I can just concoct, hey, in these messages, it says that they executed the plan, they posted this about me, they did this, and, you know, there's no evidence to say it's true, but I'm saying it's true, and I made it up, and I'm a good writer, and you have to believe me. It's nuts. It doesn't make no sense. Oh my God, Christina, you're so right. And I think about that all the time, of how many people, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' lives, they've ruined so many people's lives, and they don't have the money to fight back. And I also think of how many clients and ex-employees Stephanie motherfucking Jones has like seeked revenge on too. Because, you know, when you read over the Who's Afraid of the Big Bad Stephanie Jones and the articles and all of the stuff Stephanie Jones leaks, she's done some horrible things to people, horrible things. And only now is it all actually coming to light. Yeah, Jesse and Max. I mean, the list has to be huge. I mean, we know of the Beauty by Blake, the photographer Richard, Brett McDowell, and Yuko, and they're from Montreal, the Gamers. There's also the photographer in Florida, the Aviation Gin. There's the people from the Blade franchise, Wesley Snipes. There's the people from the Deadpool franchise, the people from the Age of Adeline, the people, I mean, the list goes on and on and on. This is not new behavior. I mean, even for The Rock to have beef with Ryan Reynolds, but then also The Rock have beef with Stephanie Jones. I mean, he pulled everything from Stephanie motherfucking Jones. And that, I think, was... She lost The Rock and Jeff Bezos in the same year. That hurts the bank account. That will make somebody go crazy to keep clients. Yeah, that's a good point, Dre. I keep saying that both of them have been so confident in their ability to get their way that they didn't think about this before they took on a billionaire. Bam! Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, I don't think they even researched Steve Saritz. I don't know if they knew how close he was to Justin and Jamie, that he would protect them, because, I mean, you know, without Steve, none of these defendants would be able to be defending themselves, and that would be crazy. Like, they know that it takes a lot of money to fight their money. I mean, millions, maybe even $100 million at this point. The SNL appearance tells you how ballsy they are. Yeah, I mean, the SNL appearance, the Time appearance, Blake Lively going to bake cookies, the Wrexham appearances, flying around the world for another simple favor. She was just talking in September about how amazing her businesses are doing. She was like on a summit talking about, I mean, all year they've been parading around. And Wayfair has been in the dark waiting and waiting and waiting. And I think their plan was like the let them plan. Let them go around and make a farce out of it. Let them mock us. Let them go ahead and think that they're all big and powerful. And then when it is time, you know. Yeah, I love that Steve Sarrett, his entire deposition expert from what we've saw so far is absolutely chef's kiss. What a boss move. He was not afraid. He literally called out Ryan and Blake for being involved with threatening his wife, threatening his business, arson on his house. Yeah, crazy. And was like, you know, if Blake wants to write me a check. I love that. It was so good. The interlocking lawsuits. We are halfway there. Let's get into it. Blake Lively filed her CRD complaint on December 20th, 2024, and on the same day sent a cease and desist letter advising the parties of a litigation hold. Brian Freeman, although he had been introduced to the defendants in August, was not retained until December 24th. Christmas Eve. Thanks, Blake, for ruining their Christmas, and now it's 2 years in a row, but you know, whatever. An engagement letter cautioned defendants to preserve documents. Shortly thereafter, defendants switched off the auto-delete feature. Non-privileged signal communications after December 20th have been produced. Abel's third-party complaint against Jones for indemnification. In this action, the Abel action, Abel is seeking statutory and common law indemnification and contribution from her former employer, Jones, for liability arising from the Lively's action. Jones's defense is that in planning a PR strategy for Wayfair, Jones's client between August 2nd, 2024 and her departure from JonesWorks on August 23rd, Abel was a rogue employee acting outside the scope of her employment without Jones's knowledge or consent. Jones's complaint against Wayfair and Abel for breach of contract and defamation. In a complaint captioned Jones versus Abel, Jones asserts claims against Abel for breach of Abel's employment contract and breach of fiduciary duty by allegedly using and disclosing confidential information and poaching Jones's clients and employees for her own business. Jones also alleges that Abel tortiously interfered with Jones's contract with Wayfair and Abel. Defamed Jones with statements that placed Jones in a false light. Although this motion is brought in Abel's indemnification action only, Abel anticipates that Jones will argue that the adverse inference and preclusion order apply equally in the Jones action. Wow, that's interesting. They think she's going to want that. I don't think anyone should be precluded from saying anything. I think fight it out, you know? You say it, and then the jury decides based on the evidence and your testimony what's true and not true. Jones fails to meet her burden to show that she is entitled to sanctions. Well, yeah, this was all for just PR and to back Blake Lively. Spoliation is the destruction of or significant alteration of evidence or the failure to preserve property for another's use as evidence is pending or reasonably foreseeable litigation. Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 37E governs spoliation of electronically stored information. A party seeking sanctions for spoliation has the burden to establish that the party having control over the evidence had an obligation to preserve it at the time it was destroyed, and that the evidence was destroyed with a culpable state of mind, and the destroyed evidence was relevant to the party's claim or defense such that a reasonable trier of fact could find that it would support that claim or defense. then they go into kind of like the same argument as in the Wayfair, that they didn't do it on purpose. They also didn't destroy the evidence to preclude anyone or prejudice anyone. And there was no event in which they thought that they needed to save it for litigation, is pretty much the arguments, which make a lot of sense because a lot of other people, I mean, first of all, this is the most severe request that you can ask for. Like, sanctions are very rarely used and they're very severe. And the fact that Blake Lively has filed like 10 motions for sanctions now is like crazy. I feel like she was like to her lawyers, like, well, let's subpoena. And they're like, we can't subpoena anymore because the date's over. And she's like, what else can we do? And the lawyers were like, well, there's this one like very severe thing called sanctions. And she was like, sanction all of them. Because it don't make no sense. It really, it's a little crazy. Anyway, more severe sanctions, including in an adverse inference presumption and terminating sanctions, are available only under Rule 37E2, which requires an additional showing that the spoliating party deleted or destroyed evidence with the intent to deprive the non-spoliating party of its use in the litigation. As noted, Jones is seeking draconian sanctions available under Rule 37E2, including an adverse inference that the destroyed signal messages would have been favorable to Jones' works and unfavorable to Abel, and demonstrated that the defendants, including Abel, conducted the smear campaign without Jones's or Jones' works' knowledge, involvement, or approval, and that Abel's participation in that campaign while a Jones Works employee, A, was for her own personal benefit, B, was not in furtherance of and was outside the course and scope of her employment and not in discharge of her duties, and C, was not at Jones or Jones Works discretion, direction, and 2, preclusion of Abel from arguing otherwise. That's the part that gets me. The preclusion part is crazy. Imposition of such sanctions would be tantamount to a dispositive ruling of plaintiff's retaliation and defamation claims. Jones fails to show that Abel had a duty to preserve evidence. To even establish Rule 37E even applies, a party seeking spoliation sanctions must show that the destroying party had an obligation to preserve the evidence at the time it was destroyed. The duty to preserve evidence most commonly arises when suit has been filed, providing the party responsible for the destruction with express notice, but also on occasion in other circumstances, as for example, when a party should have known that the evidence may be relevant to future litigation. Then they cite from a whole bunch of other rulings and laws and cases where they fought for Rule 37E2, like what Jones Works is fighting for here, and it was tossed out. It was dismissed, okay? I mean, there's a whole bunch of them. Wow. Here, although Abel is nominally a plaintiff, her indemnification claims occurred only after Lively filed suit against her. In other words, in contrast to a typical plaintiff, Abel did not control the timing of the litigation in which she seeks indemnity. Nevertheless, Jones asserts that by early August 2024, litigation was not only foreseeable, it was actively contemplated. Lively, however, has 2 categories of claims. 1, claims arising from the alleged sexual harassment or other mistreatment on set during Phase 1 shooting between May and June of 2023. And 2, claims of alleged reputational and other harm stemming from the alleged manipulation of the internet. The alleged manipulation of the internet beginning in August 2024. Jones states that when Abel downloaded Signal for this matter in August of 2024, she was on notice of potential litigation relating to the film and to Baldoni and Heath's harassment of Lively on set. As evidence that Abel contemplated litigation in August of 2024, Jones points to 1, the November 9th, 2023 letter from Lively's lawyers, Leslie Strasberg, demanding certain protections on the set as a condition for Lively's completion of the film, which Heath sent to Abel as Wayfair's PR relations agent on November 10th, and 2, Abel's admission that she suspected the possibility of litigation relating to the shooting of the film in or around mid-August 2024. Jones explicitly states defendant used Signal to coordinate the retaliatory digital campaign, communicate with journalists, and align with legal counsel on the narrative they would present to the press. Conversations focused on a response to the August 2024 explosion of media coverage triggered by Lively's hijacking of the production. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Exclusion of Baldoni from the film's marketing and premiere, and the very public unfollowing on social media. Thus, while Abel may have anticipated litigation relating to Lively's allegations of harassment during shooting of the film in or around May of 2023, Jones presents no evidence. Indeed, does not even argue that Abel or any other defendant anticipated litigation over their August 2024 PR activities. Naturally, Jones would have a very difficult time explaining how Abel could have reasonably foreseen litigation in November of 2023 over a retaliatory smear campaign that didn't even happen until August of 2024. Hence, Jones fails to make the critical showing that Abel or any defendant could reasonably foresee litigation over a PR strategy, or that their August 2024 messages were relevant to anticipated litigation that might give rise to a duty to preserve such evidence prior to the filing of Lively's December 20th complaint. Absent a showing that Abel could have reasonably foreseen litigation arising from her August 2024 PR work, Jones fails to show that Abel deleted Signal messages with a culpable state of mind, assuming she deleted anything at all. Moreover, Signal's auto-delete feature was disabled after litigation commenced, and defendants have produced post-filing Signal messages. Facts that weigh against the notion that Abel acted with culpable intent to delete relevant evidence. Bam. Oh, my foot's asleep. Yeah, I totally agree, Izzy. Blake has been projecting onto Justin and Wayfair the entire time. She thinks because she was doing it, they were doing it. Her and Ryan Reynolds are like, well, we are horrible people, so if we did it, they did it, right? If we're able to hijack a movie, smear them, get them fired from WME, do all of this stuff, blah, 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 well, then they're probably doing the exact same thing too. But it just turns out that that's not the case. They really messed with like probably the nicest, kindest people, because I feel like if it was anyone else, this would have been over. Like they would have leaked it in August, you know, as soon as Blake Lively asked them to sit in the basement. I felt like if this was anybody else, everything would have come out. I mean, if it was me, I would have blasted it, you know. Yeah, it's like group therapy, honestly. Okay, this is the last little bit, but I'm pretty sure, I mean, these sanctions for spoliation and for this, I think is just nuts, and I feel like hopefully the judge dismisses it and awards Wayfair attorney fees, because the fact that they have to like prove these points, which is so freaking obvious, is crazy. Jones had no right filing this spoliation. She just did it in concert with Blake Lively on the same day, which is freaking obvious. You guys couldn't even have waited a few days apart. You had to file them back to back with each other. Like, y'all are the worst criminals I've ever seen. Like, you didn't think Van Zandt was going to be found out. You didn't think people were going to think like you weren't going to get found out about talking to each other for a month before Van Zandt. I mean, just dumb. You know, if you're going to do something so shady and immoral, try to hide it. Like, I mean, dang. Did Blake ask Justin to sit in the basement or tell him? Well, actually, Blake demanded, I believe, from Sony and from everyone that he not attend at all. And then through meet and confers, or through meetings back and back and back, they came to like a middle ground where the Wayfarer would show up during this time slot, do pictures, do all of that stuff, and then be escorted down so that Blake Lively and her people could take over. And the worst part is Wayfarer then had to host their own after party, which, note to Wayfarer, it was dry. It didn't serve any alcohol. And Wayfarer still had to pay for Blake Lively's party, like the main after party. Wayfarer paid for. Crazy. It's crazy. They told him on Emily's birthday, on Emily Baldoni's birthday, Jesse and Max, is that true? That's when they found out that they had that. Oh my gosh. And I wouldn't leave it past them, because Blake Lively has headed out for Emily and Natasha since the very beginning. I've done videos on it. I feel like she's missing something inside of herself, so she's attacking the other women that have it, you know? That's crazy. Imagine finding out on your wife's birthday that you can't attend your own film premiere. That is the nuttiest thing. That is crazy. Okay. Let's get through the last part. Jones fails to establish that Abel deleted relevant evidence to Jones' prejudice. Yeah, of course. You can't just say, oh, they're there and those text messages would have helped me. What are you talking? Like, it doesn't make no sense. Rule 37E requires a showing that evidence existed and was destroyed. Yes, there we go. We could just wrap it up right there. The moving party failed to show that allegedly destroyed documents even existed. Jones does not show that Abel used Signal prior to December 20th, 2024 to communicate about Lively. Deposition testimony establishes only that prior to Lively's filing of her complaint, Abel used Signal to communicate with or about another very high-profile client unrelated to this action, and that although Abel activated Signal in August of 2024, she does not recall using it to communicate about Lively. As noted, which makes sense, right? Because they have all of the text messages. So if they were writing all of the stuff that they wrote in the text message, like, okay, now it's time to go to war, all of the things that they were writing, if she was using Signal, we wouldn't have any text messages, right? But now we have hundreds and thousands of text messages. So it's like, it doesn't make sense that they would be using both, because then they would have just used Signal, and then maybe we wouldn't be here right now, because, you know, Stephanie Jones wouldn't have been able to use them against these people. As noted, Jones fails to identify a single item or even type of relevant evidence that was destroyed by Abel or any defendant. Jones similarly fails to establish even that Abel operated on Signal in connection with Lively. Jones does not cite any evidence establishing that Abel used Signal to communicate about Lively between August of 2024 and that disabling the auto-delete feature on defendant's phone after the filing of Lively's complaint. Although Abel activated Signal in August of 2024, she does not believe that there were any communications on that Signal thread until December 2024, when Lively filed her complaint. Abel does not recall whether she sent any Signal messages at all in August of 2024, when the digital campaign was allegedly conceived and executed. Jones merely avers that from August 2024, the defendants operated on Signal. Jones defines defendants to include not only Abel, but Wayfarer, Baldoni, Heath, Saritz, Nathan, Tagg, Wallace, and street relations. As noted above, Rule 37E sanctions are personal, and the destruction of documents by one party cannot give rise to the spoliation sanctions against another party. Therefore, Jones cannot and does not cite information relating to the alleged digital campaign that Abel could have deleted. Jones acknowledges these shortcomings by asking the court to simply presume that Abel had and deleted relevant messages that might have shown Jones's lack of involvement. Non-existent messages cannot be either relevant or prejudicial. Showings crucial to a Rule 37E spoliation analysis. Nevertheless, without any evidence, Without any or factual support, Jones contends that assuming that they existed, Abel's alleged deleted signal messages would confirm Jones's exclusion, and that Abel's anticipation in the retaliation campaign was without Jones's knowledge and against her recommendations. Yeah, right. And there is no question that Abel's signal messages with the other defendants during this period would have been shown to Abel's participation in the digital campaign was not at Jones's direction and that Jones was not involved. This can be inferred from Abel's recommendation of Nathan to spearhead this covert campaign over Jones's express objections and exclusion of Jones from that process from the subsequent work that followed. And Abel's destruction of that evidence has limited the universe of documents available for Jones Works to use in this litigation to Jones Works' detriment. This is pure conjecture and speculation. An assumption or speculation that allegedly deleted relevant evidence existed is not sufficient. For instance, in Cooper Foods International, the plaintiff failed to meet his burden under Rule 37E, where he argued that because defendants usually communicated over WhatsApp during the relevant time period, and one of the defendants had enabled disappearing messages, relevant messages must have been deleted. The Cooper court rejected the moving party's claim that he could not prove spoliation because plaintiff deleted the evidence, concluding that such speculation failed to show that the allegedly missing evidence ever existed to be destroyed. Yeah, I mean, to me, it just kind of like makes sense. And I think these calls were definitely, again, just to overwork the court, to overwork Wayfair, and for PR, because it has no legs to stand on. It doesn't even make sense. Marilyn Manson was falsely accused as well. I'm not a fan of his, but the Me Too. Wow, I didn't know that about Marilyn Manson. I don't really listen to his stuff or follow his stuff, but of course everyone knows who he is. Wayfair had to pay for Blake Lively's after party because they have to pay for all of the promotional stuff. It wasn't her after party. It was like It Ends With Us after party. So it was already planned for a long time. And it's actually part of your cost and your budget when you're making movies. Like you have a rollout and yeah, you have to pay for all the events. You have to pay for all the parties. I mean, it's part of like the publicity, you know, and I'm pretty sure that Wayfair even paid the maximum effort bill too. I mean, I haven't seen that yet, but anyone that was hired for It Ends With Us LLC paid, but who was paying It Ends With Us LLC? Wayfair, and maybe Sony, but they're just the distributor, so I'm pretty sure it was all from Wayfair's pocket, which is crazy to think about. It's crazy to think that, you know, they probably paid maximum effort, or like I like to call it maximum extortion, but and the after party, yeah, it's just so nuts. What? Rose is wild. That's crazy. The actress Evan Rachel Wood faked an FBI letter and gathered women and asked them to make false accusations against him with her. What? I don't know. I gotta look into that. That's too much to take in right now. I can't believe that people act like this. It's kind of crazy. Jones contends that Abel may have deleted messages that may have shown that Jones was excluded from and did not direct the PR strategy developed by Abel and others in August 2024, and thus that Abel was acting outside the scope of her employment. However, Jones does not dispute that at the time Wayfair was a Jones client, or that Abel was the Jones Works employee responsible for that account. Jones also fails to mention that the other text and email messages that were produced plainly show Jones's involvement in the Lively Baldoni brawl, and that, as she alleges, Jones recommended against hiring crisis manager specialist Melissa Nathan. In fact, district courts routinely exclude relevant evidence that is needlessly cumulative. then they just say that she already had all the information. So it's like repeating the same stuff. Finally, even assuming Wayfair engaged Nathan despite Jones's recommendation, Jones does not explain how this is evidence relevant to Jones's claim that Abel is not entitled to indemnification because she, rather than Jones, took the lead in working with their client. Nor does Jones describe additional evidence that might add to the evidence she already has. There is none. Hence, nothing that Abel could have deleted would affect or prejudice Jones's ability to prove that Jones recommended against hiring Nathan, from which Jones claims her non-involvement can't be inferred. Implicitly recognizing the fatal shortcomings in her argument, Jones urges that relevance and prejudice may be presumed and that the court may infer that deleted evidence was unfavorable where the spoliating party acted in bad faith or in a grossly negligent manner. As noted, Jones fails to show that Abel anticipated litigation in which communications relating to a PR strategy might be relevant, and thus fails to show that Abel acted with a culpable state of mind. The failure to make this showing precludes Jones from making the higher showing a bad faith. The authority cited by Jones does not advance her cause. To start, Jones cites authority for the proposition that relevance and prejudice can be presumed or grossly negligent conduct has been abrogated. Hey, what's up, buddy? Give me 1 second. The dog just came in. 1 second. Come on. What are you doing? Go. Big break. Okay. Well, I think they've pretty much proved it. I mean, it's not like Jennifer Abel deleted any messages like on purpose or in deed of, litigation. But I also think that Jones was definitely involved because there's messages with her saying like, don't hire Melissa Nathan. Jones came up with her own scenario planning. Jones also reached out to the Daily Mail and was talking to reporters and they had to be told not to, so I'm like, girl, how are you going to come here and say now that you weren't involved in anything? And Jennifer Abel was fired on the 21st and Wayfair was still your client. Wayfair was your client all of August. And Wayfair was your client when you were over there colluding with Blake Lively and conducting this whole Van Zandt fake lawsuit thing. And now you're going to try to cry that you didn't know nothing was happening. Ugh, I can't stand her. Yeah, exactly. If they were using Signal, wouldn't they have had made sure the message that was apparently so incriminating that were used was in the New York Times article? I mean, Jones had her phone. She had everything. It's like, it's crazy. You're absolutely right, Jeanette Conroy. It's a joke that they thought they were going to get away with all of this crap. It's crazy. In any event, the cases Joan relies upon are inappropriate. Inopposite. Oh my gosh, that time is too much. A plaintiff failed to produce emails after she was noticed of litigation and throughout the litigation. The plaintiff had control of the evidence and had an obligation to preserve it from the date that her counsel sent a demand letter to defendants threatening litigation, or at the latest from the date the plaintiff filed her claim with the EEOC. So the plaintiff failed to preserve her communications with individuals from whom she had obtained statements to support her claim. The evidence established that the plaintiff acted in bad faith. So all of the cases, I'm sure, just like in the Lively motion that they used is in opposite, meaning they're using cases that don't even make sense. It's opposite of what they're even trying to do. So in Arista Rex LLC versus versus Usenet.com, another cited by Jones, a defendant in a music infringement action, admitted that he removed a web page with a digital music file and reconfigured his server after the commencement of litigation. Well, I mean, that's that's not at all what the signal messages are. That's crazy. Like, that's obviously real bad, right? Like, you start litigation, then you go and you backtrack and you delete evidence. You're going to get called out for that. The evidence destroyed after the commencement of litigation was directly relevant to the plaintiff's legal claims for direct and secondary copyright infringement. The court found this conduct amounted to bad faith, warranting spoliation sanctions. In contrast to Ottoson and Arista, Abel was not a plaintiff who alerted Jones to the possibility of litigation and is not alleged to have deleted relevant information after the commencement of litigation. Nor, as explained in Section 3A above, could Abel have foreseen litigation over her PR work in August of 2024. Moreover, unlike Ottoson and Arista, Jones does not identify specific evidence that Abel may have deleted. Jones thus fails to establish her right to sanctions under Rule 37E1, which are limited to those sufficient to cure the prejudice she has not shown. But Jones does not seek sanctions under subsection 1. She seeks the more severe sanctions of an adverse inference and preclusion, available only under 37E2. Jones, however, fails to establish that any defendant acted with the intent to deprive her of the specific evidence for use in this litigation, a predicate for the onerous sanctions available under subsection 2 only. Jones fails to meet her burden under Rule 37E2 for the severe sanctions she seeks. The more severe sanctions available under Rule 37E2 require a showing that the spoliating party intended to deprive the moving party of information for use in this litigation. The intent standard for sanctions under Rule 37E2 is particularly harsh and stringent and specific. The moving party must show not merely the intent to perform an act that destroys ESI, but rather the intent to actually deprive another party of evidence, which obviously they didn't do. How could they have known in August, even if there were signal messages, that Blake Lively was going to file this ridiculous lawsuit based on a couple of mishaps on set a year and a half earlier? It doesn't make sense to me. Even a showing of prejudice from the destruction of highly relevant or even dispositive evidence may be insufficient for Rule 37E2 sanctions, absent a show that the evidence was destroyed with the intent to deprive the moving party of its use in the litigation. An intent to deprive can be found either from a conscious act of destruction or a conscious dereliction of a known duty to preserve electronic data. The Second Circuit applies 4 factors to determine whether a party acted with the intent to deprive. 1. Evidence once existed that could fairly be supposed to have been material to the proof or defense of a claim at issue in the case. 2. The spoliating party engaged in an affirmative act causing the evidence to be lost. 3. The spoliating party did so while it knew or should have known of its duty to preserve the evidence. And 4, the affirmative act causing the loss cannot be credibly explained as not involving bad faith by the reason proffered by the spoliator. Jones fails to meet any prong of the intent to deprive test. In fact, Jones does not acknowledge the intent to deprive requirement for the sanctions she seeks. Explain that, Stephanie motherfucking Jones. Jones merely asserts in the most conclusory fashion that Abel's intentional use of signal and failure to disable auto-delete suffices to infer intent to spoliate. Intent to spoliate is not the standard for an adverse inference or preclusion. Rather, a party seeking sanctions must show an intent to deprive Jones of evidence for use in this litigation. nor does Jones describe facts that would meet any prong of the intent to deprive test. First, as shown in Section 3B above, Jones fails to show that relevant evidence once existed that could fairly be supported to have been material to her defense of Abel's indemnification claim. At issue are signal chats between the Public Relations Crisis Management Team and or Wayfair defendants in the pre-litigation period, August 2024 to December 20th, 2024. Plaintiff only speculates that the deleted chats may reflect that Abel excluded Jones from the communications and work being performed on behalf of a Jones client. Second, plaintiff does not show that defendants acted affirmatively to cause relevant evidence to be lost. Third, addressed in Section 3A above, Jones fails to show that Abel deleted any relevant signal messages after litigation commenced, or she was on notice of potential litigation over her August 2024 PR activities, which are the subject of allegedly deleted messages. And the only topic relevant to Abel's indemnification claim against Jones. Finally, the use of signal by the Public Relations Crisis Management Team can be credibly explained. At the time the crisis management strategy was developed, the internet was already ablaze with stories about Lively and the Baldoni dispute, triggered primarily by Lively's conduct in excluding Baldoni from the marketing of the film and the premiere, Lively's unfollowing of Baldoni on social media, and Lively's own missteps in marketing the film. Surely even Jones would admit that keeping crisis management communications confidential and safe from hackers and aggressive media players can be credibly explained as not involving bad faith by the reason proffered by the spoliator. Conclusion: for the foregoing reasons, Abel respectfully requests that the court enter an order denying Stephanie motherfucking Jones's motion for Rule 37E sanctions in its entirety. And can we just give it up to Miss Aline Garofalo? Boo! She wrote both of these, the one from yesterday and the one from today. So you go, girl, you go. Oh, okay, this. I did it. And I barely slipped up on any words. Well, you know. What do you guys think? Do you think the judge is going to allow these very, very severe, rare sanctions for spoliation? It just seems so crazy. Like, I don't know what the preclusion. The preclusion is the one that gets me, because not only do you want them sanctioned, you want the jury to believe whatever you say about these signal messages. They can't deny it. They can't even testify against these deleted messages. Literally, Blake Lively and Jones can come out and say, we believe in these 38 signal messages that it is proven that they decided to, do the smear campaign, and it's in these messages, and Wayfair can't say anything about it. These women are crazy. I don't think that's how a fair trial is supposed to go. Daddy Lyman is pretty consistent in giving baby Blake what she wants. Yeah, but like to a point, I don't think he's going to go against the law and do something so rare like this. I mean, these sanctions are so severe that it would really, I don't think so because he should be really worried about the appeals and going to the higher courts and stuff, because, Yeah, I think, he's definitely a granted and deny. Like, he doesn't ever grant anything in whole, and he definitely doesn't deny everything in whole. It seems like he's very like, okay, I'll grant this, but deny this. But I'm pretty sure these sanctions or these motions for spoliation and sanctions are going to get deleted, because both parties, Jones and Lively, both said they already have evidence. They have substantial amount of evidence to prove it. So these text messages these aren't supposed to prove your case, because you already came saying that you have a case and you have evidence, and that's why you filed. So, We'll see. We'll see. But they do get to respond now, and they've actually asked it for an extension to respond. So we're not going to get the response until December 8th. And then they meet with the judge on December 9th. And I'm not sure yet if that's, they haven't said yet if that's going to be something that we can all tune into or what. But we'll see. Yeah, someone needs to start turning all of their words on them. We'll see if they even come back and reply to the motion for summary judgment and motion on the pleadings, and now the opposition for sanctions. They have a lot of answering to do, so we'll see what gaslighting Blake Lively is going to try to give us, or any like spin on the truth, because we all know that she's just, even in, I remember in her amended complaint when they got to the point about post-production and hijacking the film, that even Lively's lawyers, I'm definitely going to just paraphrase this, but they're like, oh, and when it comes to the post-production, we don't even have to talk about that because that's not why we're here. And it's like, no, you're going to have to talk about it. Like, eventually you're going to have to talk about literally extortion, fake lawsuits, sham subpoenas, and taking over this man's movie and having them sit in a freaking basement, removing his credit, firing the composers, firing assistant directors, firing the editors. You're going to have to talk about it, right? You can't just be like, no. That's not why we're here. It's like, okay, those are the answers everyone wants to know. Until she can explain her behavior, I don't care about the smear campaign. And like I said in one of my videos before, even if at this point, if the Wayfair people did do a smear campaign and use Blake Lively's own actions and own words against her, because everything that was coming out there was no lies. It wasn't defamation. It was real interviews from Blake Lively. Whoop-de-doo. Because her behavior was monstrous and she deserved a little lick back. So I really don't care about the smear campaign, because there's so much evidence showing that Blake Lively and Leslie Sloan was attacking Justin first, that in defending themselves, if they won the PR war, okay, whoop-de-doo. Look at the awful things she did to them since signing on in December of 2022. So in August of 2024, they got themselves a little lick back. Okay, they went through 2 years of hell. So it's like, okay, they won the PR war that Blake Lively started. So, you started something. You thought you were going to win because you've been winning. You've been walking over these people like a freaking carpet the entire time. This time they decided to stand up for themselves and they won. And now they continue to win. So even if they did do a little smear campaign, well, I don't care. I want to know why you hijacked the movie. I want to know if you were so repeatedly SH'd, trapped, misconduct, uncomfortable, embarrassed, insulted, degraded. Why, when you could have walked away, in February when the movie stopped, why you begged and forced your way back into a movie and back into an editing room to watch yourself over thousands. When you're editing, thousands of times you have to watch the same scene. Nobody would do that. Nobody. No woman would ever do that. So explain that first. That's all I want to know. I don't care about no smear campaign. I'm Australian, so I can cite Reagan. Has to be the funniest. That's funny. Oh, Reagan. I haven't thought about that in a long time. That was some crazy stuff. It was good. Aunt Clara says, and sleazy, corrupt, unsanctioned lawyers allowed to bend rules, judge allowing and not really looking into records, sadly. That's even in TC cases with death penalty cases is truly shocking. Yeah, that's why I think maybe a jury is always the best and not just a judge, because if you are human, and I used to debate in high school, and one of my biggest debates was the death penalty. And I just think when you are a human being and you are one person, your decision, there's always going to be prejudice. There's always going to be, and maybe that's favorable to the defendant and maybe it's not, right? It could be something good, but it could be something bad, and one person shouldn't hold power. Over somebody's life, because there's always so many human factors coming into play. Your past, your family, and it could be a good thing, and it also could be a bad thing, in my opinion. Reagan has nicer hair. Yes, Jeanette, I agree. The whole case of Lively is a joke. It should have never made it this far. I feel like the judge dismissing New York Times and Ryan Reynolds and Leslie Sloan was way ahead of its time. He should have never made that call. I think, if anything, he should have done it so that they can refile. And yeah, that's when I think Wayfair woke up, snapped out of it, and was like, okay, let's gather everything, and then we wait. And we wait, and then we file these motions. I want to read Lively's deposition too, but I don't know if we're ever going to see any of her communications, her text messages, her emails. There's a lot there. There's a lot. I mean, she had to turn over all of her phone records as well, right? So I don't know. I don't know what's going on in her head. Like, if I knew that I acted the way she acted, like if I knew that I put these men through hell and I stole their movie and everything I did, there's no way I would start anything with them again. I would walk away. I got my premiere. I got the thing. I got the movie. I got this. I'm done. I would never have filed a CRT complaint to open the door to allow them to tell the world all of the monstrous things I've done. Like, I would have just taken the L, taken the loss. So I don't know. To me, it seems like this little bit of a humiliation ritual. It just seems crazy. Like, and I think it is stemming probably from Ryan Reynolds, because he doesn't want his wives to be working. He doesn't want his partners to be bigger than him. He doesn't. And that's a record. I mean, that's fact. You can't dispute that. The way he acted with Alanis, with Scarlett Jo, now with Blake. You know, it's a pattern. It's a pattern. You guys are so funny. Oh my gosh, it's almost 4:30. I'm going to probably have to go in a couple of minutes. Gonna go get on with my day. Might go get my pump on or take a nap. That's where I'm at. It could either be that or it could be this. And I actually wouldn't mind spending the rest of the afternoon melting in my mattress and taking a little break so that tomorrow I can be fresh, you know? Yeah, that's very interesting, Aunt Clara. The more I think about this, the more I think Stephanie motherfucking Jones saw the signal messages before they disappeared. If she was watching in real time, she could see it. But then why wouldn't she screenshot it or something or preserve it? Oh my God, Maria, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Wow. Yeah, it was a lot of ridiculousness. It makes sense though, because earlier when someone said that, I guess Perez Hilton has, on information or belief, that's what I like to say, allegedly on information or belief. That's how, I've been reading a lot of court dockets, On information and belief, Perez Hilton thinks that, or is being told that Blake is paying for Stephanie's lawyers, which would make her filing this motion for sanctions and spoliation on the same day make sense. It makes sense, Thank you so much, Christina. I really appreciate it. Maria, thank you. And Lala, all the people, thank you so much. Thank you for the super thanks. This was really fun. Getting in the habit, of Lottie of Wales, thank you so much. I'm going to be doing more lives. I think Saturday works really well for me. So definitely Saturdays, and I'm going to do maybe 2 or 3 during the week just to catch up. And there's a lot of other things I like talking about too. It doesn't all have to be about Blake, but this has been just a spicy week, a spicy 2 weeks, It's crazy that the judge came back and said that he's not going to rule on the motion on the pleadings or summary judgment until after December 19th so that we can get all of the stuff unsealed first. So it's going to be, stay with me through the holidays. It's going to get crazy. I can't believe it's already November 22nd. So nuts. Blake is the gift that keeps on giving. There is one, I will not forgive Blake forever making me ride so hard for men and against a woman because I'm like a girly, like I'm, but Wayfarer is freaking innocent. But also, thank you to Blake for bringing all of us together, the entire world together, for the community that we built, the people that are here. I mean, it's truly awesome that we're all like together and like in the same group chats and in the same people's lives and watching the same. It's the community that she's built is so amazing. And I think and I hope that we're all learning from Wayfarer, at least for me, to like always stand in my morality and alignment and be more kind and loving, because the more I've learned about Justin Baldoni and Jamie Heath and their wives and Steve Swartz through this whole thing is like, I don't know, it just really shines light on darkness that is happening, especially in Hollywood. And Wayfarer opened Wayfarer to be the antithesis of Hollywood, right? And now this happens with the first Hollywood star that they work with. Is crazy, and it's kind of proving their point that they need to get away from Hollywood because it's dark. And at least thankfully to Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, we can see that now, and our eyes are open to PR, to manipulation, to propaganda, and to evil. And I feel very grateful for Wayfarer that they were able to, what is done in the dark will always come to light, and they're pointing the biggest flashlight right now on Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, who have ran Hollywood and been monsters for the last 15 years or so, which is crazy. Okay, great group therapy. Yeah, girly. We'll be back. We'll do more therapy. We'll be back every Saturday to do therapy until we need it, Unlike Colleen Hoover, we will not be getting any PTSD from It Ends With Us because we all have each other and we have the truth, and we're able to independently, critically think based on actual evidence. You feel me? Okay, I love you guys so much. I'll be here, tomorrow. I'm going to go over all of the exhibits, and I think there's some depositions we haven't seen yet. I did know the text message thread is kind of like old news, but that's fine. But there is some depositions in there that I really want to get to. So I will be bringing that to you tomorrow. Stay tuned for that. And I also have a deep dive coming out about the movie Together, which has caused major rifts on copyright and independent film creators. And that is coming out as well, I think, on Monday. So something a little different than It Ends With Us, but it has to do with Hollywood and it has to do with stealing of somebody's movie. So tap into that. Blake helped me keep my house pristine because I rage clean when I'm mad. Girl, I rage clean too, so that's so funny. Okay, well, thank you so much. Thank you for the super thanks. And I don't know, I just love you guys so much. I love the community. I think we're all pretty awesome, So have the best rest of your day, whatever you decide to do. And yeah, I'll be back with you soon. Thank you so much, everyone. See you.